Hello boys and girls, welcome to the Math Club. In this video, we're going to talk about the gradient and the y-intercept and how to find them in an equation. Now question 7 here says, plot these graphs, fill in the gradient and y-intercept in the table. Now plotting a graph plotting a line on the graph, we talked about this before, and we explained how to plot a graph using the equation on a grid. Now, finding the gradient and the y-intercept is so easy in the equation. For example, if we take a look at the equation here, this equation here, we said before that the y-intercept is the number alone, which is this one. Now, this number here is the y-intercept, -5. And we said if there's no number here, for example, the y-intercept equals 0. If the equation says y equals 2x, it means that the y-intercept is 0. Now, we have a number here, so the y-intercept is -5. So, in the y-intercept, we write -5. Very good. And then the gradient, we said that it's the coefficient of x. It means it's the number multiplied by x. This is the gradient. Now we write 2 here. Very good. And it's +2. Good. Now, we know now how to find the gradient and the y-intercept for each equation. Now let's do the same for all equations. As we said, the y-intercept is the number alone here, and the gradient is the coefficient of x, or the number multiplied by x. Now, find all of the equations using the same idea. Now, let's take a look here. The gradient is the number multiplied by the x, so it's 1 here. So we write 1, or +1, good. And then the y-intercept is the number alone, which is +1. Now let's write it in the y-intercept area. So it's +1. Good. Now for the next equation, the gradient is 3. Very good. So we write it here. Good job. And then the y-intercept is this number. So we write it here. Very good. Now, the next equation, the y-intercept is +2. Very good. Focus on the difference between the y-intercept and the gradient. Don't mix them. Now, the gradient here is the number multiplied by the x. So it's -1. Very good. -1. The next equation, the gradient is the coefficient of x. So it's the number multiplied by the x, and it's -2. Good. And then the y-intercept is the number alone, which is -7. We write it here. Very good. Now the last one here says what? It says that the gradient is 1/3, so we write it as it is, 1/3. And then the y-intercept is +1, so we write it here, +1. And this is how to find the gradient and the y-intercept in an equation. Now, the discussion here says, how can you find the gradient and y-intercept of a line without plotting the graph? As we said, it's very easy. The y-intercept is the number alone, in which it's the number which is not multiplied by the x. It's a constant. Yes, the constant in the equation is the y-intercept. And then we said that the gradient is the coefficient of x. So it's the number multiplied by the x. And this is how you answer a question like this. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.